Okay. Today again we'll create the VPC, but instead of using /24, we'll use /20 because one of the problem with the /24 range of CIDR blocks for the subnets are the maximum 251 instances only or resources only we can keep in that subnet. One of the client constraint is he may be having a constraint like maybe I may use more number of instances in the future. That is the reason I don't want only 251. Then that's the reason we have taken 10 dot 15 I'm taking the cider /16 I gave for VPC. Then I don't want to use, say suppose I suggested 10.15.0.0/24. Then with this I'm getting 256 and hyphen -5 we are getting. Total we are getting 251. But the client having a one doubt is maybe I may use a auto scaling kind of auto scaling kind of thing. In that zone itself, it may scale up even to 1,000 also maybe in the future. Like what is the doubt is if I auto scaling is required 1,000 instances in that zone, what is going to happen is like after 251 for the new instances we don't get IPs. For the new instances we don't get the IPs. Then what would be the solution is I'm not giving /24. I'm going to use /20. If I use a /20, can you guess me how many IP addresses we are getting in that subnet?
4096.
Yeah, 4096 because here it's 2 to the power of 12. 32 minus 20, it's 2 to the power of 12. And with that, I'm going to get the 4096. Even if I go for 5 also, I'm getting 4091. Okay. So even then even he can scale up to 500 or 1,000 instances also. At any point of time, he may not maintain, but he has a future plans. That is the reason /24 is maybe not enough for that client. Okay. So that is the reason we given /20. Then you need to tell me that 20 range of IP addresses with this 10.15.0.02. So can you tell me the last IP address in this range?
0.255.
10 dot?
15.0.255.
No, that is not correct because 0.255 will take only 256 IPs only. So total we need to get 4096 IPs. Say in each row, so how many seats assume we have 256 IPs we have. Then for 4096, okay, so how many we need to get is like 4096 by 256. Then that will take total 16 rows. So previously only 256 only, 256 by 256, we got only one row. That means 0.0 is enough. But in this use case, what happened is almost it taking 16 rows. Then it ends with 10.15.15.255 is the last. Why we got 15? Why not 16? Why we got 15? Why not 16?
The third octet is 0.
Yeah, that first object that is 0, we got it, right? That's the reason.
We are using 15.
Yeah, 15 we are going to get it. 15 we are going to get that. Okay, the next series is we are going to get is what is the next series we are getting? The next series we are getting is for the next subnet, what I'm going to give is 10.15.16.0/20 I'm going to give. Okay, so this also will give how many IPs? 4096 IPs. So total we are getting 4096. Then can you tell me the next series of IPs those? What are the next series of IPs in that? So this will end at 10.15.31.0/20 it will end. 10.15.31.0/20 it is going to end.
So how we know that 13 is how it comes to means like
Come again?
so means 31 how we are taking that
Yeah,
particular
here
number.
from 16 to almost 16 rows.
Okay.
Okay, each row having 256 IPs. Like this 4096 will take 16 rows. Then if you
Okay.
calculate 16, 17, 18, 19, it ends at, say here 16 plus 16 is not 32. Here as it's 16 also is included, it ends at 31. Okay, that means the total how many rows we booked now for the second subnet? Almost 16 rows we booked.
Okay.
Okay, so now assume it's like a theater. Total we have 65,536 IPs. Why we got 65,536? Why we got 65,536?
So
Because
that is
we
a
given
VPC,
slash
right?
16. We given slash
Yes.
16. Among that, say how many like assume we have seats, rows and columns, right? Like this, one row is having 256 IPs. Like this, how many rows we are getting? 256. Then for 4096, I'm giving 16 rows because yesterday we given only 0, 1, 2, 3 because 256 seats only we have, 256 IPs only. That is the reason 0, 1, 2, 3 like that we can give. But here with the first subnet itself, almost 16 rows are fixed. That's already we given to first subnet, right? That's the reason second subnet starts from 16 onwards.
Remember.
Then third subnet starts from
31.
not 31.
It will take
32. Plus
32.
31.255 is the last IP. That is done. The next series starts. That's from 32. And if I give slash 20 here, where it will end? I hope you know multiplication of 16, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, 10.15 dot 10.15 dot
6.255.
how much?
Means
47.0/20. Sorry, 47.255. So why we got 47? Because next series starts from 48. Okay, so 32 to 16 will come to 48, but it ends before itself because as it started with 32 itself. Okay, then next series 10.15. Why we are using 10.15? Because as we given slash 16, 10.15, those 16 bits are fixed. Okay, then next series, can you tell me? This time exact you need to tell.
48.0
Yeah,
slash
48.0. Where this will end?
63.255.
63.255 it will end. Next series starts with the fifth subnet, but if we don't want, we don't need to use 64 to where it will end?
79.
79 because next series starts from, yeah, say slash 20, even in default also we are getting in the same way. In the default also, we are getting the same thing. Okay, any doubts on this? Any doubts on this? Any doubts?
So which one is necessary? How we know that particular server we are using, like the node?
Come again?
So I'm asking, so how we know which one is need to use that kind of
No. These all from the private reserve ranges, and within the company also, we'll get an approval for all these. Whatever we have given, like we need to send the proposals to the client. Okay. So mostly the industry standard is for the VPCs we are giving /16. For subnets we are using /20 or 24. But say suppose if I send this 10.15 and if any conflict with other project also these IPs, then he may tell don't use 10.15.
Okay, so means they need to provide that
Yes,
particular.
we also need to ask the inputs already. Any siders are there in their office and on premises. What are the siders they are using? With that, like a plan to don't have the conflict with those IPs.
Okay,
Okay,
I
so
think
then
there is a restrictions also, na?
yes, we need to provide all these, and we will take the inputs also existing like on premises. They will have the IPs, right? The
Yes.
private range of IPs. What is the series they're using? All these we need to get that before itself. And in which region we are going to create, how many subnets we are going to keep, how many instances they are going to keep, or in the plan in the future, how many they are going to keep. These all the inputs we need to ask to. These all the inputs we need to ask to.
Architect.
Yeah, client.
Fine.
Based on the client, architect will design. What is our job is we also need to provide the support for him. We also need to provide the support
So I
for
think
him.
this is also already decided when we are doing like one of the projects.
No.
We are
While
that is
designing this, we need to review those.
okay.
Before sending to the client itself, we need to review all these also.
Okay. So which one
Yeah,
we can
which
use?
one and any mistakes are there, best practices, all that we need to tell to that architect also. So architect preparing document meaning is we also involved in that. Okay, that
So
is just
at
like
that point, so can we discuss also? So means
yes, we
this
need to
kind of
discuss and how many we have provided the inputs also is one of your performance criteria.
okay.
So in those design kind of architect documents, how many inputs you have provided, how many those have been approved also is one of the
Uh,
performance criteria. Even a fresher also will involve in all this.
okay. So means we need to actively involve that particular
Yes,
architect.
definitely. So that is the reason. What is the course we are doing is also is AWS Solution Architect.
Yes.
Okay, that means even that architecture also is part of the job. That is also part of the
Job
job. Don't think only architect will do. We all know, right? Who constructed Taj Mahal? Who constructed Taj Mahal? So we will tell Shah Jahan, right?
Yes.
But it's not only Shah Jahan.
Yes.
Okay, so that means even that architect and his team also involved in those.
Okay. So means
Okay,
the architect is on same work as the testing and developer also different architects,
uh,
right?
I'm sorry I didn't get you.
So I'm asking, so there is also our for architecture for ourselves.
Yes, we
Like
also
so.
need to involve in those. Even a fresher also need to involve.
Okay.
One second, I'm losing that. So for root access, they made it multi-factor authentication. Previously, I think they used to give 30 days like that, but now they made it multi-factor authentication is mandatory. So with this, what is the advantage is more security will come for those. So more security will come. Let him send me, wait for, okay. So now any doubts on this? Like maybe /24 is straightforward because 0, 1, 2, 3 like this we can give. But /20 is a little challenging. Now confidently try to tell me, we'll create a next series. I'm choosing, say if I choose here 20.10, what you need to tell to the architect? Or maybe some developer or project manager, he doesn't know about IPv ranges, all those. He may give it 20.10. What you need to tell?
We can tell that this is not
That
supported.
20.10 is not in the reserved private ranges. Okay, we shouldn't use that CIDR range. We need to tell to them. Okay, so then I'm going to change this one. Try to understand that 10.20 is allowed. Okay, say 10.20. Then can you tell me in the /20 that subnets? In the /20, can you tell me those subnet names? So now here
10.20.0.0/20.
Okay, then try to understand if I give this subnet, after that 10.20 dot, is it possible to give next subnet?
Yes, is it possible?
Yeah, that is not possible because try to understand our use case. I have given 16 rows to someone. Again, can I give 10th row to another some other persons?
No.
No, because they will
No.
get a conflict, right?
Yes.
That is the reason once I given, it's complete a block itself. Is it clear?
Yes. So
Yes.
if any other example can give to.
Yeah. So I'll tell one example. I have already first created this 10.20 series. Okay. Next, when I create 10.20.0.0/20, what it will tell is I don't have the group of complete 4096 IPs. Then it doesn't allow to create me. Okay. What I need to do in that use case is first /24 I need to delete. If I want to give /20, meaning is the complete
do
set of
restore it.
4096 IPs I need to give. In the middle, some of them have been booked. Then I don't get that IPs. Means I'll get a CIDR conflict I'll get. Then it won't take that one. Okay. So that means I shouldn't use in the middle some other IPs. That means it's the complete 16 rows, one set only we can give. In the middle, if any of the single IP have been in the use also, if any of the single IP also is in the use, then it's not possible. Yeah. Any doubts on that?
Means can we give 10.20.16.0/24?
Yes, we can give that because that is another subnet. But say here, try to understand one point. Say suppose 10.20.16.0/24 we can give, but 10.20.17.0/16 it won't take. Sorry, 20 it won't take because /20 means it need to start from with the multiplication of 16s only. Okay, maybe from 0, 16 like that only. If I want this itself, then first I need to delete this subnet. First I need to delete that. Then here I can give 16.0/20 I can give. So that also will confirm once. Okay, so that also We will confirm in that. Next series is, what is the next series?
32.0.
Yeah, 10 dot 20 dot slash 20. Next series is, what is
6
the next
multiple
series?
48.
48.
48. Say my architect or client said 48 will keep for future purpose. Okay, 48 I don't want to give, maybe for the future purpose. Okay, so we want to keep, then what is the
64.
64. Okay, so 64. I'm said that's not mandatory. Like we need to use those like in the series itself. That's all our decisions.
You don't have manners?
So like this here, we are going to create 10.20.64.0/20. We are going to create. Okay. So mostly like in the companies, 90% will have these range of series only. Very rare people don't have the ideas. Okay. So then like they may be keeping /26 like that. Okay. But that's not at all a best practice. And we already discussed one point, right? In the each subnet, how many IPs have been reserved? How many IPs have been reserved?
5, sir.
5 subnets. Okay, so what are those 5 subnets also we'll discuss. Okay, so now here AWS is reserving 5 IP addresses. Okay, so then like here the first one is the network address. For every network, we required one address. Okay, so then like what is the first IP in our series? So we given 10.20, right? Then what is the first IP address?
10.20.0.0.
10.20.0.0. Like that is the first IP address. Then what is the last IP address in that series? If I give /20,
10.20.15.255.
10 dot
20.15.255.
yeah, so 10 dot okay, that is the last address. The first address we are using is for that is for the network address. For every network, we require one network address. First address, try to remember for the network address. Then second IP would be there, right? The second IP in this use case, the what I have taken 1.1. In this, that is used for the router purpose. Okay, VPC is going to provide a router also. Okay, then the next address 10.0.1.2. This is for the DNS server. Okay, so for the DNS, we are going to reserve that one. Okay, so this like we are going to reserve. Then the next IP is 10.0.1.3. This IP have been reserved for future purpose. Now even still in that reserved IPs also, one address has been kept by AWS. Maybe in the future they may get more requirements. That is the reason they are not giving to anyone. The total how many IPs? Total how many IPs?
7.
5.
Not 7, 5 IPs.
Okay.
Okay, so 1.0, 1.1. In this series, as we given 1.0 like that. But in our subnet also we'll discuss. But can you generalize that? First IP address is used for network
network.
address.
Network
Second
address.
one
Second one is for router.
for router. Third one
Domain name system.
DNS. Yeah. Fourth one, AWS also is not using as of now. They kept that for the future purpose.
Yes.
And the last IP in the subnet they're using for
Broadcast.
broadcasting. But AWS is not supporting broadcasting. Okay. AWS is not supporting broadcasting, but still they're going to use that address. Okay. Still they're using that.
But what is that purpose if the AWS is not like
Maybe in the
supported for the
future they may support, because if they're not reserved now,
Mhm.
if the clients start using again, they may not release that IPs.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the reason that they want to fix that. But remember one thing, broadcasting is not supported in AWS.
Okay. So the current situation is not supported,
Yeah,
but in
it's
the
not
future
supported.
maybe.
Maybe in the future they may give.
Okay.
Okay, but at that moment, say suppose I have one production server, I may tell, right, already I use that IP for my production server, I can't release that for us.
Okay.
So that is the reason they're not.
Use so that they are not supported.
These all the 5 IPs have been reserved. Okay.
Okay.
Now, like from our subnet wise, we'll discuss those.
Okay.
So now here I'll take an example of this subnet 10.20.0.0/20. Okay. So then what we need to do? 10.20. This is first address. And this is used for
Network.
network address.
Yeah.
Okay. Then second one is,
Second one is router.
yeah, what is that address?
Address like
.1.
Yeah, this
One.
is for the router purpose.
Router. Yes.
Okay. Then
0.2.
10.20.0.2. This is for
DNS plus domain name.
DNS. Perfect. Okay. So I'm focusing more from the interview wise. What are the questions? You shouldn't forget again all this.
Okay.
Okay. Then the third IP address in that series.
No, there are 3.
This IP is not used as of now, but
Future.
AWS also this reserved for
Future purpose.
future purpose. Maybe in any special kind of technology came or special requirement came, then they're going to keep this one. Okay. Then 10.20.
15.255.
Yeah, because this 15.255 always within that subnet, the last range of IPs itself is used for broadcasting, but it has been reserved. But in the AWS VPC subnets, AWS has disabled the broadcasting because it security wise also sometimes is risky also.
Okay.
Okay. So that broadcasting has been, what is the meaning of broadcasting is I can send to everyone in that group like that.
Broadcasting means like whatever like if we are seeing like any movie, so that is a broadcasting means any
Not in the networking wise, broadcasting means we can communicate with any of that any of the device in that network.
point.
Okay. But that is disabled for the security purpose and even for the bandwidth wise also. Okay. So AWS is not supporting. Even in the lot of companies also, they don't support broadcasting. In the normal networks also, they'll stop that.
So means there is any conflict right now, or like it is not a work. to give that particular border.
That's a risky kind of thing in the enterprises.
Okay. So
Everyone
that
sending the
we cannot.
messages. Say suppose you are working. If everyone send a message to everyone, like it disturbs everyone, right?
Right.
So like that here, and it takes a lot of bandwidth also.
Okay.
It's not one-to-one kind of communication.
Okay.
Okay.
It might be in the future. It is
Maybe in
going
the
on.
future, if they require, they may open that.
Okay.
Okay. So then, one more important for tomorrow, like sorry, yesterday's session is we need to discuss more on the route table. More on the route table. Okay. So what is your understanding of route table? What is your understanding? Yesterday we configured the route table, right?
It is a public or private IPC storage. Sir?
Not
Some
perfect.
set of rule.
Like route table is
Concept.
configure how traffic is routed within your VPC, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's for external network or like internal, maybe external network.
Yeah. So suppose route table, we have some set of rules. How the routing is going to be configured, we are going to define. How the routing is going to happen in that, we are going to define in the route table. So we have some set of rules. And what are that rules also? Yesterday we discussed some rules, right? By default, we are getting one rule. So by default, we are getting one rule. Any idea what is that rule?
Yes.
If I
Local
don't do anything also, by default, we are getting one rule, right?
local implicit router.
Yes, yes. Implicit router we are getting. So what is that meaning is? So in our series, what is that is it subnet cider or VPC cider?
VPC side.
Subnet side.
VPC.
No, sorry, VPC.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to confuse because even in the interview also will try to confuse us. 10 dot our subnet is sir our VPC is we are assuming 10.20.0.0/16. Okay.
Yes.
So then what is that route table rule we are getting?
Destination network, like for
Destination is
CSP
this.
and block.
That means if any of the user comes with this IP, we are going to keep that 10.20.0.0 series we are going to use. We are telling to use that like a local implicit router we are telling. So by default we are getting local implicit router and using that we are going to communicate. Using that address it's going to communicate. Okay. So then what it is going to do that rules are say here we are going to create like a the route tables what is the purpose is the even in the normal local router also we are going to create. Okay, so that means we are even in the local router also we are going to create. So how the traffic is directed within our VPC and according to the route table, by default, if you create a VPC, we are getting one main route table we are getting. Okay, and this route table having that rule, like with that VPC cider range, using the local, we are going to get it. So that means main route table is having that rule. Okay, so then we have some set of rules, those are called as routes. What is the route it contains is like that VPC cider will use a local implicit router. Okay, and for the public access, what we need to route? So now here, if this having 10 dot, if this rule is there, this rule will tell any IP can communicate with any IP within
VPC
VPC.
side range.
In the VPC, it's going to communicate. Okay, then Like, what is if we want the public access, what we need to do?
We need to network connect
Any IP to internet gateway.
internet gateway.
Any IP to? Yeah, what is the rule we need to add? What is the rule we need to add? So for that, in the second, we need to add one more rule, 0.0.0.0/0. We need to attach internet gateway. But in that VPC, we want internet gateway. What we need to do is first we need to create an internet gateway and attach to
VPC.
VPC.
VPC. Okay. Then only in that drop down we'll get that internet gateway. Okay. After this, what we need to do is this route table we need to attach to
Subnets.
not all subnets. That which like to which subnets you will attach, those will become
Public.
those
Public.
will become public. I hope you got it right.
Yes.
Okay, so those will become public. We say now in the interview, how people will ask you is, I'll give you one subnet. Okay, you don't know whether it's a public subnet and private subnet. How you can confirm that?
By checking the routes.
Yeah, say we need to go to that subnet. In the second tab, we have the route table. In that, what are the rules? If we're having only one rule, it's
Yeah,
a
so that is
private.
the point.
It's a private. If you're having two rules and the second
That is
rule
public.
having internet gateway, then
Public.
it's a public. Without having internet gateway, it's not public, even having two routes also.
Yeah.
It's clear, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sure. Perfect. Then what we need to do is here even we can attach the NAT gateways, VPNs, everything will connect, depends upon our requirement. Okay, so depends upon our requirement. We are going to attach all those to the VPCs. We can attach a NAT gateway, VPN, VPC peering, all these we are creating. All these we are going to create. Okay, so now try to understand here one point. In the route table, I can attach to subnets. Okay, otherwise in the subnets, I can attach to route tables also. Means it's a bidirectional kind of thing we can attach. That means to the route table, we can go to route table and edit a subnet association, we can attach. Otherwise, you can go to subnet and edit route table
Subnets.
association also we can do. But the impact is same. If I don't assign any route table, what's happening by default? If I don't assign route tables, what's happening by default?
By default, it gets assigned with the main route
With the
table
main
and
route table. Okay. Then here we got the main route table route, right? Then instead of main route table, I created a custom route table, right? For the public. Still like a private subnet still having main route table itself. What is the risk if I change my main route table itself, with these two rules, what is going to happen? What is the risk involved with that?
all subnets become public.
All subnets will become public. That's a mess up kind of thing. Okay, so when we have when you can do this is, my company don't want private subnets at all in that VPC. All should be
Public.
All should be public. In that use case, we can go for, like we can edit the main route table, because in the default route table, what is happening is, that means in the default VPC will get a one route table, right? In that they'll have both the rules. That is the reason all subnets become
Public.
public itself. But in the custom VPC, don't do such mistake. Don't do such a mistake. Okay, any doubts on this? Any doubts on this? So little confusion would be there initially, but we can manage it. No issues. Okay, we'll create multiple times all this. There you will get, for the first time. I'll have confusion with the route tables, especially. Previously, we don't have but good documentation. We don't have, and videos we don't have. Okay, so now at least we have a lot of videos are available. Documentation is available. Okay, but like already a lot of people also got expertise also. Hence, we need to compete with them. Okay, so then I hope if I give a subnet, you can tell that subnet is a public or private. Any doubts on that part? Everyone can tell that, right?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, so then what is the I'll revise, even in the interview wise also they'll ask this one. What is the difference between public subnet and private subnet? Theoretically try to tell me the public subnet and private subnet. What is the difference between them?
So in public subnet, we need to connect with network gateway. So, but in private gateway, so we are not use like network gateway. So there is no issues for that particular to use that particular network gateway.
Yeah, so public subnet will give both internet access and public access also.
Yes,
Whereas private subnet,
there is no any like network gateway for that.
the
Only
private
public
subnet,
access.
we don't get the outside world, we don't get the public access, and even internet also won't come. But they can communicate within the
VPC.
VPC or subnet.
Within the subnet maybe.
No, within the
In the
VPC.
VPC instances.
Because you try to understand the default route table, we have the complete range of IPs.
Oh, oh,
Okay, that rule is 10 dot, say suppose in our scenario, if I use 10.16 dot or 10.20 dot 0.0/16, this is the complete VPC. Any IP, let it come. That allows the route, that route is there, right?
yes.
That is the reason any IP within the VPC can communicate with any IP. Okay. But like a private subnet is private subnet is getting internet or not?
Not.
No. Then like I have my servers, we discussed, right? Already we may have database kind of servers or some backend application servers. We may have Active Directory, LDAP kind of servers, file servers. All these we are going to keep. So those kind of servers, okay. If I use those kind of servers from the, like my private subnet, I'm going to keep. I don't expose them in the public subnet. I don't keep them in the public subnet because those are very risky kind of things. And for 2 hours, so for 2 hours, they want a patching kind of thing. For 2 hours, they want a patching kind of thing. Then, if I suggest internet gateway will attach to that subnet, what is going to happen? If I attach an internet gateway to those, what is going to happen?
That time that
Take
is a
close to internet, whole internet.
Yeah, internet will come for them. That like a requirement is fulfilled. But what is the risk?
Access to public.
Yeah, publicly accessible, that is very risky kind of thing because it exposes those servers to the public internet is very risky. Okay, so then what is the solution? Internet gateway is not the solution for that. For that purpose, we have AWS having one solution that is called as NAT devices. We can call that as NAT gateway also. Okay, but we have our NAT instance also. Both are called as NAT devices, or we can use NAT gateway also. Okay, so now what NAT gateway or NAT instance is doing is to the private subnet missions, it is providing now like NAT gateway or NAT instance will provide among those four options. Can you tell me which one is correct?
Internet access.
Internet.
Internet access is clear, right? Okay, then can you tell me for internet gateway what is the option there?
Both.
Both. Okay, so that is the reason I'm not using internet gateway. I'm using NAT device. So what NAT device is doing, can you explain me in the layman terms? For the private subnet missions, we want internet. Okay, so then I'm going to use
NAT gateway.
NAT gateway or NAT instance we can use. There is a slight difference between NAT gateway and NAT instance, but the purpose is same. The purpose is same. What is the purpose? What is the purpose? We need to provide internet. Okay, so now here I have one more requirement. Why private subnet resources need internet? Why those private subnet resources need internet?
It said patching.
Maybe for the patching purpose, or maybe we can call those as updates kind of things. Or I want access, say suppose you want to use phone pay, or maybe that required it need to communicate with APIs, right? Okay, so maybe with the third party APIs I want to communicate. So for all that I want internet for those. But if I keep those servers always with the internet, what is the risk? Like it may be like a download some virus. That's also I don't want to keep for long term also. So when I have a patching, say suppose today this 2 hours we have the patching activity, I'll provide the NAT gateway, and once my work is done,
Delete the NAT gateway.
yeah, not deleting. I'll bring back to my main route table itself. Okay, so these all the lab I'll explain in the tomorrow session. Okay, but try to understand what is the NAT gateway. NAT gateway is the device will provide internet to public subnet or private.
For private subnet.
Because already public subnets have the internet gateway, right?
Yes.
They don't want the internet. Okay. So for the private subnets, we want the internet, then we need to attach. Either we can go for NAT gateway or we can go for NAT instance also. Okay. So these also we need to create and we need to attach to through route tables itself. That I'll explain in the tomorrow session. Then we have one more important thing is there. Security group versus NACL also. So people definitely will ask the differences between public subnet and private subnet, internet gateway versus NAT gateway, NAT gateway versus NAT instance, and security group versus NACL. And we have one more name. The NACL itself will pronounce like Network Access Control List also, or NACL. NACL or NACL or Network Access Control List. Okay, so now try to understand there is a similarity between them. Both are firewall rules itself. So both are the firewall rules. Obviously, that firewall rules will contain inbound and outbound rules. Security group is at resource level, or maybe in general terms, at instance level. Already we use the security groups, right? We open 22 port, 3389, 80, 443. Like this, we open the ports. Okay, so those ports are open at security group level. Whereas NACL also, the firewall rules, but at subnet level. Okay, so by default, those are at the subnet level. I'll tell one general example. You may have a community apartments. Okay, say at the main entrance, will have security or not? We'll have the security at the main entrance, right?
Yes.
Then at your flat also, you can keep the grills, doors, all those. Means you are keeping at your. Okay, so then in the security group and NACL, which is external security?
NACL.
NACL is external because that is at the subnet level. Inside the subnet, we have the instance. At that level, we have security group. Okay, so then I'll tell one example. My instance is blocked at NACL. Okay, in NACL 22 is blocked. In security group, I open 22 is open. Then to that Linux instance, can I connect or not? At
Can
NACL, it is blocked. At security group, yeah. So is it possible to connect to that or not?
no.
No, because
Yes, first priority is initial.
yeah, because of the NACL itself is blocked because we can't. So suppose they open the door at the flat, but security is not sending us inside. I hope you got it right. NACL is at the NACL is at the
Subnet.
firewall rules at
Hacker is control more outbound both traffic for
subnet
like
level.
subnet level.
Whereas security group is at the inside the subnet will have resources like maybe load balancer or instance or RDS kind of database. At that level, we have the security groups. I'll tell one more use case. I open at NACL 22 is open and I blocked at security group level. Then can I connect to that instance or not?
No.
No, because at the subnet level they're allowing, but at the instance level it's not allowing, right? Always to have a two layers of security is better or not?
Two-layer security is better.
So that's the reason we have NACL at the subnet. Which of the IP says, suppose our apartments will tell the instructions, right? Maybe for the shopping, like salesmen, or maybe for beggars. Okay, so like these kind of people, like don't allow them. Means I don't want to send them till my instance level also. Those kind of IPs, all those, I will restrict at. I will restrict at the At the NACL itself, I'm going to restrict that. I'm going to restrict at the NACL itself. I don't want to allow till my instance also for the security, those kind of dangerous IPs. Are you able to understand? Because those need to be stopped at
Subnet level.
subnet level itself. That is the reason we have the NACL. I can block at security group level, but I don't want it to come till that point also. Okay, so we have even more differences between security group and NACL, internet gateway versus NAT gateway versus NAT instances. Once we gone through and you start using, we'll discuss more deep into those. But in the layman terms, can you tell me NACL versus security group? NACL versus security group. NACL is the firewall rules at
Subnet level.
subnet
It
level.
also shows subnet
Security
level.
group is
At instance level.
at the instance level we have. Okay, even we have more differences also. Practically, we'll discuss those. But these are all the mandatory questions in the interview wise. These all the mandatory questions from the interview wise. Okay. Yeah. Any doubts on this?
No, sir. Right now, no. So when we saw this video, if anything, so we can tomorrow.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
1 second.